Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Driggs, and Marco was unable to be with us tonight. He is truly in the sticks, not a euphemism. He is out there in the boondocks in upstate New York, and he isn't able to manage a connection to be with us. Marco, we miss you, and I think I miss you most of all. I mean, without you here, who's going to compliment my beautiful blue eyes and my luxurious long hair? I don't know how I'm gonna manage to get through the show without you, but we're gonna push ahead. And I've got a very special guest that I'm excited to reveal when we get to that moment. And I think we'll have a good show. So, Marco, we hope you're winning your bets out there. Although I don't think they're bets on baseball, I think they're country bets, the kind you make. You know, do you think I can jump across this river with a running jump? You know, that kind of thing. Do you think I can drive this truck 120 miles an hour without crashing into that rock? I think those are the kind of bets that are going on out there. But what an exciting Friday. We are going to take a look at the game action. Well, pretty impressive day of capping. We'll probably wind up 2-2, but the two winners were plus money, and so that's a profit today. And those two winners were on the first reads. So our first read flyer, which was at 70%, we were 7-3 going into today on the year on those. And for the first time ever, the handicapping made it clear that we should actually have two plays on that game. The Marlins first five and the Marlins team total over 4.5. That game finished 8-2, and at the end of 5 innings, it was 6-2. And so the first read flyer goes to 8-9, 9-3, 9-3 overall, which leaves us at a 75% ratio on that. The two losses, the first one was the Pittsburgh Pirates, which was a first five, and at the end of 5, they were down 3-1. We were looking for a little bit better pitching performance from our guy there, Cool, but that didn't happen. And we took a super flyer on the Mariners tonight, and they were up 1-0 at the end of 1, and it looked like, hey, the Mariners are here to make a game out of it. But at the end of the top of the 1. At the end of 1, they were down 9-1. So, you know, the bottom line is on a play like the Mariners tonight at plus over 200, you only need to hit 25% of those particular plays over the course of a season to show profit for those. So occasionally the line is such that the capping isn't the issue. It's just here's a chance to make some dollars. I was thinking about that, and it's like if you walk past a roulette wheel, and this particular roulette wheel has it 100-1 for 00. Well, you might throw $1 on that roulette wheel because normally you'll see odds at 36-1 when it should be 38-1. So losing a play on Seattle there is the expected outcome of that. Although you hope that it's a little bit more exciting of a game than that. Meanwhile, Milwaukee and Chicago head to the 9th, 4-3. Washington looks like they're going to win one of the two games against Baltimore today. Texas is edging out Colorado. The Dodgers naturally up over the Angels. San Diego and Arizona, the Lament pitching beautifully, but so is Kelly for Arizona. Kelly just continues to impress, so we want to keep our eye on him. Lament, we wouldn't expect anything else from. And San Francisco is charged out to a 6-0 lead over Oakland. But in the finished games, Philadelphia ekes out the win over New York. We have some stuff to talk about DeGrom a little later. Cleveland, we have some stuff to talk about. Cleveland has their bats came alive tonight and a 10-5 win. The Marlins are first read flyer tonight, 8-2 over St. Louis, and Kansas City and Minnesota was postponed tonight. I haven't seen why. In St. Louis, obviously their game was postponed, although they're set to play tomorrow. We have some things to say about them. So we have some interesting stuff ahead, but right now, why don't we bring in our special guest who's waiting patiently in the waiting room, and let's see who this is. Well, hello, Dr. Berger. Welcome.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good in my opinion.
Well, it's nice to see you in this context. Welcome to Picks for Sticks. What a pleasure to have you.
What an honor it is. This could be the epitome of my entire career. Or the end of my career.
Well, sometimes the epitome is the end, and it's called a crescendo. So perhaps this is a crescendo, but for the viewers who don't know, you're my father, and
Do I have to admit to that? Have you seen any DNA evidence to support that?
I have not, but what I have seen is the fact that I've been coming over to dinner at your and mom's house pretty regularly, and the conversations that have ensued while we've been hanging out eating the delicious dinners mom has been making have led.
She's incredible, isn't she?
She really is, and she just is great. I know she watches the show, so an ahoy hoy to you, Mom, because I know you don't watch the show, Dad, but occasionally Mom shares something with you. I mean, you're so busy doing amazing things, you don't have time to watch this show.
I have too many people I have to annoy.
Yeah. So, were you aware that our dinners have become a segment on this show?
Am I aware of what?
That the dinners that we have become an entire segment on this show where I talked about the chocolate chip cookie fiasco. I've talked about other things, talked about some of your court cases. It's become a whole segment.
What I'm aware of is that you've been using some of my material, and I'm going to have to send you a bill.
Well, we take all contributions, whether they're so send a bill, we'll send you a prize. Our prizes are very special. But I wanted to ask you a couple questions.
Like my shirt?
What is that? CPEA. What is that?
Children's Protection Education of America.
What is that? I have
no idea, but I gave them some money and they gave me a shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty great. How much money did you give them?
My interpretation is this is keeping children at home instead of subjected to the classrooms of second-rate teachers.
Well, I have some strong feelings about that, but that's definitely a different show. But on this show, I want to ask you as a mental health professional, there's been a lot of discussion and a lot of talk about the fact that maybe there shouldn't have been baseball this year. And there are really two reasons that people who oppose baseball taking place this year cite. The first reason being that it just isn't safe and it could be dangerous for health reasons. And the second reason they cite is that with the rule changes, it's really a destruction or bastardization of the traditional norms of baseball. So,
all the bastards. What's the issue?
The issue is, do you believe that this baseball tournament should be taking place? Should it be happening?
Number one, I think it's wonderful. Number two, yes, there are risks. No question about it. And we don't even fully know all the risks that are involved. And so my understanding, not an expert, my understanding is players had the option to, without penalty, opt out. And those who were willing to take a risk chose to do so. For them, it's a business. I certainly understand that, which means money, income. For the rest of us who don't take your picks too seriously, this is about fun. It's about entertainment. And if some people are willing to go out and entertain us at some risk to themselves, whether they're walking on a high wire, whether they're trying to get tigers to not eat them, we pay for the entertainment. So should it be reckless? No. I think obviously we should have great respect for the lives and futures of these individuals, which they also are adults and get to make their own assessment. So I think the rest of us getting to have some fun in a very safe way for ourselves, not being stupid enough to be in the stands, even though some people are young enough that almost surely they'll be okay, even if they get sick, but they don't even know what are the long-term effects with some recent evidence coming out about heart conditions for younger people. But every time you get in your car, you take a risk with your life. You stay home, airplane falls on your house.
Yeah, that's possible for sure. But talking about being
So
professional,
to answer your question?
it did. And talking about being professional and making professional decisions, did you hear about the two pitchers for Cleveland, Plesac and Clevenger? Did you hear about these guys?
I did hear about that stuff, but I'm going to play with my hair too, just like you just did.
Well, mine comes down. I need to tighten it. But
That's just easier for you.
so, yeah, Plesac and Clevenger. Did you hear what the final resolution was for these two guys?
Nobody tells me anything.
So let me let me tell you. So Plesac had pitched a good game. So his friend Clevenger takes him out on the town, whatever that means, we don't really know. But some friends of Plesac, and they had some drinks and there was some dinner. Don't really know the details. And then the team found out that Plesac had been out. And so that broke the team protocols and they felt betrayed. And now maybe they've been exposed. And so Plesac was sent home in a car because he couldn't travel with the team. But Clevenger didn't admit that he had traveled with, that he had gone with Plesac. And so he flew home with the team. And then they found out that Clevenger had been with them as well. And so the two were forced to stay in Cleveland while Cleveland went to play some games in Detroit. And then they had a
Was castration an option?
it might be before it's all done. And so
It's all in the CBA.
right? So Clevenger and Plesac then drive in a truck from Cleveland to Detroit with their gear, with all their gear. They drive in their truck from Cleveland to Detroit to meet with the team to just hash it all out as a team. And the decision that was made was that, no, they're not rejoining the team. The team is not happy with them. And so they were optioned to the additional farm, if you will. And so both players in their truck drive to the smaller additional site where the additional players are kept. Now, Clevenger is an elite pitcher. He's a top of the line guy.
That's a concept though. Do they physically keep all those additional players in a place together?
I
No,
think
seriously, I did not know that. Are they all physically housed?
yeah, they are, where they're playing and they're in game shape, and they're about 30 guys. So that's where these guys are. But my concern is they really let them drive their truck from Detroit to this place. These are the two guys you shouldn't trust at all to be alone. Shouldn't there be a chaperone or at least a team mom for these children? These guys are stopping at every honky tonk and whatever there is along the way. This is crazy.
Well, college fraternities have a house mother, but she never goes upstairs.
Well, I never had
The equivalent is she ain't gone in that truck.
No, exactly. So how about the Cardinals? The Cardinals are returning to action tomorrow, and they're 2-3 on the year. They've only played 5 games, and so what they're going to have to do is play 55 games in 43 days. Do you think that can be done?
If they show up,
Remember, they got
What are you really asking?
right. They got 30 additional guys that they can keep rotating in and out.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they might
Doctor.
forfeit a couple, but
Anyway, Dr. Berger, do you know what we're having for dinner tomorrow night?
I think you know.
I am. I'm gonna figure it out. I'll
You
coordinate.
have some soup left, I remember that.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of soup, and we'll see what beautiful concoction Mom puts together. And enjoy the rest of your evening. Why don't you see if you can get an Angels win here? They're down 4-1 in the seventh.
That's what my phone shows also.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any hope.
probably
The
not.
Dodgers are not going to come down with COVID in the last 2 innings.
Well, when you get it, it has to hit at some point. So maybe it'll hit in the next couple innings. Maybe.
Do you think one could do testing on the base path? Couldn't you make an appeal?
You appeal to the third base tester?
Pine tar on the bat, put on the guy on second.
Hey, umpire, he's coughing a lot. Can you do a test?
Sneezed.
Right. All right, Dr. Berger, we're gonna say good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Have fun. Bye.
That's Dr. Berger. Always nice of him to make an appearance, even though that's his first appearance. And that was our very first guest that we've ever had on Picks for Sticks. And that was just great talking to him. He even made fun of my hair. But talking about hair, DeGrom was scratched from the lineup today, and we were all set to bet on the Phillies, but that game was too late for us, even though the Phillies came in. Didn't want to get on that. There was no line at the time that the email was sent out. The Phillies did go on to win that game 6-5. And so the thing that confuses me is the rationale given for why DeGrom was scratched. He had a blister, but that's not what they said, because they don't want to say it's a blister, because once a pitcher is identified as having a blister, that really messes up the lines, and it messes up perhaps their stability. A blister is like the worst thing a pitcher can have, other than the Tommy John injury. But they claimed it was a neck, that he was having neck pain. And I'm thinking maybe that is actually true, because he's got all that hair. And as a fellow long hair, I can relate, because all the hair, this is why I put it up. I got it up in two things. It's shifted left. It's an angled high pony, because when it's down, all that hair hanging on your neck just causes so much pain on the spine right there. That DeGrom, I get it. I understand. It's not a blister. It's a neck injury. So expect him to have a haircut, or expect him to have a high pony, but expect him back soon. Anyway, I noticed that LeBron James is working with the Dodgers to make Dodger Stadium a 2020 election polling station. And I'm thinking, this is fantastic. First thing that occurs to me, though, are they going to charge $20 for parking to get you up into the stadium? But then I realized that there really is a catch. It's not the parking. They won't be charging for parking. But the catch is that the ballot is, it's an all-star ballot. That's what they have at Dodger Stadium. They give everybody all-star ballots. And maybe Donald Trump has a point about the problem of the ballots, because I know when I was a kid, I would take those all-star ballots. Our home stadium was Angel Stadium, and so we were Angels fans as kids, and we would run to all the ushers. We would get everyone. We'd get all the ballots, and they'd give us 2 or 3 at a time, and you thought, that's so great. And so you'd collect about 20, 25 ballots, and you and your friends would just vote for every single Angel. And I remember I'm like 10 years old, and I'm like, look at this. Brian Downing is going to be an all-star. 25 votes right here. No way is he not going to be an all-star. And then you see the results, and 25 votes just wasn't enough. But the point is that they have to use all-star ballots, and they have to punch out the tickets, just like the ballots that left the Chads. But Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Sacramento Kings, the Atlanta Hawks, they've all pledged to convert their arenas into election locations. They've all gotten on the bandwagon. So have the Detroit Pistons. But the Pistons have said they're only going to avail their practice facility. Just the practice facility, not the actual arena. And I think that's an interesting proposition for them to be adhering to. So let's check in on the games. Seattle is now down 11-1. The Dodgers have increased their lead 5-1. Dr. Berger advocates in-game COVID testing right on the spot. That's absolutely hilarious. Arizona has gotten a run on San Diego to take a 1-0 lead into the sixth. And there is a challenge in San Francisco. So I did receive another spam text today. These just come in at a rate of at least one a day, but this one was great. This guy texts, let me call it up here. He texts in, just a heads up, I have added another parlay tonight, so that is 3 parlays for you tonight. 3 parlays? We're doing parlays by text? All of them are max bets. Really, max bets on parlays. I'm only going to allow 20 more subscribers. Then the deal is over. This text should be over, but it keeps going. It's so funny. Only 20 more subscribers. I sent this out to 10,000 people. Only 20 more subscribers. So he's capping the limit. He says, I have to keep it limited because I don't want our edge getting out there. Really? Don't want the edge getting out there. Don't want the edge getting. This was the same guy who 2 days ago, the same dude says, get on with us. Who's the person moving the line? We're the ones moving the line. So the other day, he's all about getting people to, that he pushes the line. And today he wants to keep the edge down because he doesn't want anybody to know about it because he don't want the line to move. Absolute bullshit. Marco isn't here to hold us to any promises tonight, but I always like to say, I promise we will not do that to you. Look, we're having an up and down week. We're grinding here to stay even. We've been wagering on a lot of plus money teams, and it's our heavy favorites that have come in this week. So we're down a little bit overall, and I haven't done the numbers to see where we're at. If you've just been betting our first read flyer, you're crushing it. We're what is our record on that? It's 9-3. If you're just betting that, you're doing great. But if you're betting or tailing or all the plays, we're down a little this week because it's tough. It's a tough business, and we were up last week. We're right around 500 this week, but the first free flyer is doing great. And this stuff about max bet parlays, the way you wager, the way you manage your money is just as important as the bets themselves. So we'll talk about money management and how to place wagers throughout the season. But the one thing you don't want to be doing is max bet parlays when it's your third parlay of the night. And so that's, let's just say they're 2-team parlays. So 2, 4, 6 teams. To hit all 3 of those, you have to go 6-0. You go 6-0 and you're doing single unit bets, you're up 6 units. You go 3-3 on that, depending on where your losses are, you could be down 6 units, assuming that's a 1 unit bet on each parlay. And if you're betting parlays, how do you manage that? Is it 1 unit? Is it 2 units? Parlays are very difficult to manage in regard to the money management. And we don't advocate for them in any way, shape, or form unless it's combining 2 heavy favorites and you are already up for the week. So we could talk about those kind of things. Remember, the baseball tournament this year, the baseball season, the idea is to play the full season. And you break it down into weeks that are broken down into days. You want to cap a full season. You want your initial bankroll to manage it through the season. You don't want to reinvest. You want to stay with your bankroll through the season. It's a season. The players are playing a season. You're capping a season every single day. And so these spam texts, even if you happen to hit that play, is going to bankrupt you. If you've been tailing us and betting appropriately, you're up on the season. A week where you're at 500 or just a little below, you're doing just fine. Even if you're down 2 units on the week, you're up 10 overall. So let's look at tomorrow's action. We got St. Louis at the White Sox, and we got St. Louis at the White Sox. I think it's absolutely hilarious that we return St. Louis to play, and they're immediately in a doubleheader. Kansas City plays at Minnesota, and Kansas City plays at Minnesota. 2 7-inning doubleheaders tomorrow. So the second game of that is pitchers to be determined. In the first game, we have Junis against Odorizzi, which is the matchup from tonight's game that was canceled. Milwaukee in Chicago. Hauser for Milwaukee, who's been very good against to be determined pitcher for Chicago. The Mets and the Phillies get dressed again. The 9-12 Mets, the 6-9 Phillies. Mats goes against our guy, Nola, who we absolutely love to back. We generally find circumstances where the matchups are so good for him. And when he is going against matchups that favor him, he is outstanding. And so we'll look at the lineup tomorrow for the Mets and see if this is a get-on game for Nola. We'll look at that for sure. Cleveland and Detroit. Cleveland's bats came alive tonight. It's like they took out their feelings against Clevenger and Plesac right on Detroit today. So Bieber goes tomorrow 3-0, 1.63 against the top pitcher for Detroit, I think, Turnbull. I was on him. That was the game that got deleted that I sent out last week. So that's a really good pitching matchup. Pittsburgh faces Cincinnati. Brault against Bauer. Bauer has been really good, and it looks like Pittsburgh has won their game of the 3 for the series. Atlanta, Miami. Man, we were all over Miami tonight. That was the proper play. But tomorrow, the pitching matchup shifts, and Fried, who really is Atlanta's ace, goes against Castano of Miami. Tampa Bay and Toronto. What an interesting game. Yarborough against Anderson, and it's in Buffalo. So Toronto got the win today. They scored 12 runs. That game flew over the total of 10, 10.5. I was eyeballing it at 10 and then went to 10.5, and I didn't want to get stuck in that. Oakland, San Francisco is a later afternoon game. Montes against Gusman. Looks like San Francisco is coasting to a win there. They're up 6-0. Only 1 hit so far through almost 6 1/3 for Oakland. That's it. Their bats are quiet. And Boston and New York Evaldi against Paxton. If Boston's going to hit anybody, it would be Paxton. Seattle and Houston, that's that's a game I don't want to say anything about. Washington and Baltimore, and there are still 3 more games on the slate tomorrow. San Diego against Arizona in another interesting pitching matchup. Quantrill against Young. Texas against Colorado. Gibson against Marquez. And last time we were on Marquez, and that didn't work out for us. I always like Marquez at home, like Friedland at home for Colorado. And Marquez got hit pretty hard last game, but what's going on in that game tonight? Has it finished? It did. Texas won 3-2. So that game sailed under. Lynn gets the win. He moves to 3-0 and a 1.11 ERA. That game was at a 10 under, 10, 10.5, 11, or maybe it even moved to 12. I stopped following it pretty early once I couldn't get a good read on it. But interesting, because the pitching matchup tomorrow will play likely to an under with a pretty high over, and so that'll be worth considering. And the Dodgers and Angels play another game. Buehler goes against Haney, and with Marco not here to talk about how great he thinks Haney is, perhaps there's some value to be played in that game, but really would like Marco's perspective of that going into that game. But he's not here, and so it's not possible for him on the spot to identify a first read flyer. So here's what I'm going to do. Anyone who has watched this long, anyone who's committed to this, send an email to picksforsticks@gmail.com based on my framing of the game, and let us know which game you want me to handicap for the first read flyer. The first person to send an email to picksforsticks@gmail.com, I will handicap that game, and that game will be our first read flyer. The first person. So if you're second or third, it's only one game. That's the game I'm going to do. So thank you, everybody. We managed to stumble through this without Marco, but it just isn't the same show without you, Marco. We miss you. But before I go, I want to say thank you to whoever sent me the Cracker Jack. This is my favorite thing in the world. You put together the actual snack with all the history and the meaning behind it and the tie-in to baseball. And whoever sent that, I don't know if it was Marco. I don't know if it was a fan because it didn't come with the return address. So whoever sent that, I love you. Thank you very much. It is so meaningful to me. I'm going to eat all 3 boxes at once. We will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Let's cash some tickets tomorrow. Good night.